Hi guys, welcome to Best Movies Recap. Today we have a comedy action heist movie from 2001 called Ocean's 11. The story is about a criminal who has just been released from prison after serving time for a robbery crime. Once out, he immediately starts working on a new crazy plan to rob over $150 million from 3 casinos at once. To pull it off, Danny needs to enlist the help of some trustworthy assistants. He hires a total of 11 men including himself to carry out this impossible mission. Without any further delay, let's get started. The movie begins with Danny Ocean, a convicted thief who ends up in jail after his wife separates from him. He is being questioned by a parole board about his upcoming release from prison and the chances of him breaking the law again. The board implies they know Danny has been involved in several other robbery and fraud cases, although he was never officially accused or charged, which Danny simply confirms that he was indeed never charged. They ask him why he committed this particular crime or why he was caught this time. He claims the reason for his crime was that his ex-wife Tess left him, and he spiraled out of control. When asked what he would do if released from prison, he simply smiles without answering. The next morning, Ocean is released from a prison in New Jersey. He then goes to an Atlantic City casino to meet with an old friend named Frank Cotton who works there as a blackjack dealer. The two of them pretend not to know each other and use coded phrases to meet up later somewhere more private away from casino security. They talk about him, and where to find him. Frank asks Danny if he already has a job in mind, to which Ocean simply states that he just came out of prison. After that, Danny goes off to Los Angeles, which makes him break the terms of his parole that require him to stay in New Jersey. He reunites with him, who turns out to be his right-hand man Rusty Ryan, a professional con man. Rusty is bored out of his mind trying to teach celebrities how to play real poker. The two prove they can still coordinate well together when they take advantage of the trainees and win a good amount of money. They then move into a small dimly lit restaurant where Danny reveals that he has a job in mind that targets the casino tycoon Terry Benedict. Benedict owns 3 Las Vegas casino hotels, the Bellagio, the Mirage, and the MGM Grand. All 3 casinos share one vault, and Ocean plans to assemble a crew to empty that vault. Not totally convinced about Danny's motive, Rusty asks him why he wants to do the job. Danny responds with an obviously prepared speech, but it's enough to gain Rusty's trust. Together, they go over exactly what would be needed to pull the job, who they would need in their crew, and who they could get to finance the operation. They find their financier in their old friend, the flamboyantly wealthy Ruben Tishkoff. Ruben is not interested at first because he knows a lot about the outrageously tight security in casinos, and he shoots off 3 failed attempts and asserts that it can't be done. Just as Danny and Rusty are leaving, they mention the owner of the casinos from which they intend to steal is Terry Benedict. Since Benedict and Ruben have a conflicted past, Ruben gains a newfound motivation to not be skeptical and decides to help the two. With Ruben's financial backing secured, Danny and Rusty start discussing the crew, which consists of them, plus Frank Cotton, who pulls some strings to get transferred to one of Benedict's casinos in Las Vegas to serve as an inside man. The Malloy brothers, Turk and Virgil, are a humorous pair of car enthusiasts from Utah recruited for transportation and multiple other skills. In charge of the electronics is the anxious and jumpy Livingston Dell. Bashir Tarr is Danny and Rusty's top choice for a demolition man, but his other project and subsequent arrest require Rusty to rescue him from the cops, which he does by impersonating an arrogant ATF agent. In San Diego, they find their grease man in Yen, a circus acrobat. Rusty then goes to Florida and meets up with their old-timer Saul Bloom and brings him back from his retirement. With 10 people already committed, the two agree they need an 11th member. Danny goes to Chicago to recruit a young but highly skilled pickpocket named Linus Caldwell, the son of the infamous thief Bobby Caldwell, who referred him to Danny without telling him it's his son. Danny is successful in wooing Linus. Everyone converges at Ruben's house in Las Vegas for their very first meeting, where the whole plan will be discussed in detail. Danny gives fair warning to everyone that the job could be extremely lucrative but also extremely dangerous, and that if they join him inside the house, they are now officially part of the job and cannot back out. Everyone goes in except Linus, who still appears reluctant until Ruben abruptly tells him to get in the damn house with everybody else. Danny and Rusty proceed to reveal the target and all the security measures they will have to deal with in order to pull the job. However, Danny believes they can grab over $150 million from Benedict's vault if they pull the job on the night of a big upcoming boxing match scheduled in 2 weeks. The team set up camp in one of the Bellagio suites and prepares to carry out the heist. They canvass the whole location to make sure they know everything there is to know. They tap into the surveillance system to have an eye on everything and everyone. They build an exact replica of the vault in a warehouse to familiarize themselves and practice parts of their plan. mostly for Yen to learn how to move inside the vault without triggering the alarm system, which will be fully functional at this particular part of their plan. After that, Saul impersonates an international arms dealer residing at the hotel and looking to ask Benedict for a favor. Under the pretense of wanting to stash some extremely valuable stones safely, Saul cons Benedict into offering to stash them in his casino vault. The stones in question are explosives created by Basher to look like gems. Linus is assigned to shadowing Terry Benedict, much to his chagrin. He is excited to be included in the group but upset that, with all his skills, he is given little responsibility. During his surveillance of Benedict, Linus unknowingly reveals to Rusty something Danny had been keeping secret from everyone so far. His true motive for pulling this job: Terry Benedict has a gorgeous girlfriend, which is Danny's ex-wife Tess. After that, Rusty confronts Danny at the warehouse, where Danny admits that Terry and Tess are dating and his intention is to win her back. Rusty is understandably upset and threatens to abandon the project, fearing Danny may compromise the job to get his girlfriend back. Danny assures him he has a very specific plan for Tess and the rest of the crew is not in jeopardy of losing their fair share of the score. At this point, we see that Tess and Terry's relationship is a little bit awkward and not very close. Danny surprises Tess at a restaurant and admits to her that he came to Vegas to take her back, which makes her angry. But through this hostile interaction, we can see that Tess and Danny are far more passionate and closer than Tess and Terry could ever be. They have a brief conversation before Terry shows up to join Tess for dinner, oblivious and unconcerned about Danny's intentions towards either his money or his girlfriend. When a former casino hotel is demolished through bombing, Basher brings the team some bad news when he finds out a weakness he was looking to exploit in the hotel's electrical system will no longer be available due to the city's electrical engineers now being aware of that weakness and fixing it after the hotel lost power. As a solution, he decides to cause an electrical pinch by connecting a bomb-like device that fries circuitry with a huge electromagnetic pulse straight into the city's main power lines. The device in question is available in California, which requires the team to make a detour. Danny, Basher, Yen, Linus, and the Malloys take a van and drive to California. Linus is left in the van with the brothers, which annoys him quickly. Unable to sit in anymore, he goes inside to join Danny, but Danny and the others have already grabbed the device and are exiting the building. They leave only to realize Linus is no longer with them. Linus is able to escape the building, but not without triggering an alarm and getting chased by security. Upon leaving in a hurry, Yen's hand gets broken when the back door violently slams on it. Danny and the others are obviously frustrated by Linus' mistake and the potential compromise of the job. Back at the hotel, the team is worried because Danny has been red flagged by security and will now be watched wherever he goes in the hotel. With his anger and embarrassment boiling over, Linus reveals to everyone that Danny is after Tess and that it is the reason he was caught, and Rusty confesses to Danny that he ordered Linus to watch him. With Danny now unable to take a step without being tracked, he is a liability and Rusty kicks him off the team. The responsibility of triggering the vault is given to Linus, a show of respect he had been dying for, but now that the task is actually conferred upon him, he is nervous. The fight night arrives and everything is set in motion. Yen is hidden inside one of the vault carts and is sneaked into the vault along with Saul's suitcase containing the explosive fake gems. To get close to the vault and also to keep Terry distracted, Linus poses as an agent of the Nevada Gaming Commission who comes to Terry with evidence that the Bellagio is illegally employing a convicted criminal as a dealer. The criminal in question is their inside man Frank Cotton, who drags out the interrogation by accusing Agent Linus of racism. During the altercation with Frank, Linus pickpockets the vault's security codes from Benedict. Terry is so eager to get back to work after this meeting. On the way out, Linus claims to have left something behind in the conference room. Terry leaves Linus to show himself out, which of course he doesn't. Linus uses the codes to make his way to the vault elevator. Meanwhile, Danny meets up with Tess, claiming he will leave her alone and giving her one last kiss on the cheek before leaving. He then hangs out at the hotel's casino where he makes sure Benedict sees him. Benedict orders his thugs to teach Danny a lesson. The thugs lead Danny to a private back room and leave him alone with a monstrous-sized man to beat him up. The man happens to be a friend of Danny, paid by him to pretend he is beating up Danny. The man throws himself around and makes a lot of noise, so the thugs on the other side of the door believe Danny is being massacred. Danny actually sneaks into the hotel's air duct and makes his way to the vault's elevator shaft, where he surprises Linus, revealing he and Rusty played Linus to give him the opportunity to play a key role. In the meantime, Rusty, Saul, Turk, and Virgil distract the vault monitors in the security headquarters by having Saul pretend to have a heart attack. While the monitors are distracted, Livingston taps into their computer system and has it display a video they shot in their vault's replica, where all they see from then on is a peaceful vault with nothing going on inside. With everyone in position, Basher cuts power across the whole city by triggering the pinch. Danny and Linus break into the vault, with help from Yen waiting inside. all unseen by the video cameras. Rusty then calls Terry on a cell phone Danny planted on Tess to reveal that he is being robbed. Incredulous, Terry goes to his security center to find that nothing is happening. Until the monitors switch back to the real live feed and show 3 men in the vault packing all the money into black duffel bags marked with X's. The robbers rig the money with explosives and split it into 2 parts. They threaten to blow up all the money unless Benedict lets them get away with half of it. Upon hearing this, Benedict calls 911 and asks for a SWAT team. Benedict complies with Rusty's demands, knowing that the SWAT team is on the way. With half the money in the vault and half the money being driven away in a van, Benedict accepts his loss and focuses on catching the culprits by allowing the SWAT team to enter the vault under the cover of darkness. SWAT enters the vault and a confrontation ensues where the explosives are triggered, blowing up the money. Benedict goes down to the vault to assess the damages and angrily calls for SWAT to leave the premises. Benedict then orders his men to retrieve the money from the van but learns the bad news that the van was blown up too. He is then surprised to find out the van was not carrying money but just flyers advertising prostitutes. Benedict then realizes he has been played. Through flashbacks, it is revealed that the video of the 3 men loading up the duffer bags inside the vault was also a video shot within the team's vault replica. Livingston had tapped into the hotel's phone network and intercepted the 911 call. The SWAT team that responded was the rest of Ocean's crew coming down to help clear out the vault. In the dark, the crew staged a confrontation while they were actually loading the real money into their gear bags. Benedict realizes that somebody made a duplicate of his vault and that he just watched the SWAT team walk out with all of his money. Meanwhile, Tess is in her room, now fully aware that Danny is robbing her boyfriend when she receives a phone call to turn on her TV to a specific channel. The channel in question is the camera outside the back room where Danny is supposedly getting beat up. Danny has slipped back into the room and allows the big man to give him a few real shots for looks. Terry goes to confront Danny, correctly assuming that he is somehow responsible. While never admitting anything, Danny tells Terry that he can get the money back if he's willing to give up Tess, who can hear everything. Terry agrees without hesitating and Tess is furious. Danny then says he knows a guy and that he'll find out who took Benedict's money within 24 hours. Frustrated beyond belief, Terry gives Danny to the police and he is arrested for violating his parole. After that, Tess meets Terry as she's leaving and lets him know she knows what just happened. She finds Danny before the police take him away and promise to wait for him to come out of jail just as he planned. Everyone in the crew, about $15 million richer, watches the fountain show in front of the Bellagio to the music of Claire de Lune before leaving one by one, all proud of what they just accomplished. 3 to 6 months later, Danny is released from the same prison as earlier, only this time, Rusty is waiting for him with Tess in the car. Danny laughs at Rusty's old car when Rusty points out that Benedict's thugs are currently watching them. Danny joins Tess in the back of the car and Rusty drives them off, unconcerned by Benedict's thugs following them. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit the like button and turn on the notification bell for more videos.